We have item 9B1, consideration of approval of agreement with the American Medical Response Ambulance Service, Inc. for the delivery of emergency medical services for $680,790. Chief?
Mayor, Council, thank you for having us. I want to bring this as a presentation to you.
Chief, want to bring the mic down so we can hear you?
Can you hear me? I'll bring this presentation to you for an amendment, possibly amend the current agreement we have. I'm going to bring three options to you that we discussed with AMR for this, for the current agreement. I just want to tell you right now that we are very happy with AMR's current service. They're reaching over 90% compliance. I do have representatives from AMR here, as well as some of my staff as well. The current agreement, so the presentation we're bringing to you is presentation, discuss, and consideration of directing city and staff to explore options and associated costs of improving service levels of emergency medical services through an updated agreement with American Medical Response Ambulance Service. Right now, our current service, 90% compliance on priority 1 and priority 2 calls. Those are our emergency response calls. Right now, we get minimum of 2 ambulances on the street when the non-peak hours, and we get more ambulances on peak hours, 5 ambulances during peak hours. Currently, AMR supervisors are on the ambulances, and that doesn't provide currently the best service possible. So sometimes they'll be doing patient care while they're not, when they may be needed on a phone call, and then they'll have to get back to us on currently. The ambulance subsidy right now is $660,000, and per the agreement, we can go up to the CPI, which increases to $687.90 right now. We've explored 3 options with AMR. The first option we explored is increasing weekly unit hours from 631 hours to 672 hours. This will bring a minimum of ambulance staffing up to a minimum of 3 ambulances on the street on non-peak hours, and then it'll also increase more ambulances on the street during the peak hours as well. So it'll capture more lost calls that AMR is missing currently. They aren't missing many, but it will capture those few that they are missing. This will bring minimum compliance up from 90%, which we currently are at, to 92% on priority 1 and priority 2 calls. And if they drop below 92%, we would access fines then. Under the section 9.8.4 of the current contract, if they drop below 92%. The estimated cost of this option 1 is $920,383 annually. We explored option 2 with AMR. This option would weekly unit hours will remain at 631 hours. Minimum compliance will remain at 90% on combined priority 1 and priority 2 calls. This would bring a supervisor off the ambulance where they could watch the whole system in Edmond. And the liquidated damages would stay at 90%, where we wouldn't assess damages until 90%. So this would only put a minimum of 2 ambulances on the street on non-peak hours and 5 ambulances on peak hours. The estimated cost of this is $1,060,433 annually. Option 3 would increase, it's combining option 1 and option 2. So this would increase the service hours from 631 to 672. So they put a minimum of 3 ambulances on the street. It would put more ambulances on the street on peak hours as well. It would increase our compliance from 90% compliant to 92% compliant on priority 1 and priority 2 calls. And we would assess damages, liquidated damages per the contract if they would drop below 92% compliant. This would also require a dedicated supervisor on duty 24/7, 365 days, which is something that's needed. Implement a per occurrence fine for failure of AMR to respond to 911 emergency dispatch for patients in City of Edmond residents who have opted into the AMR membership program. So essentially what this would do is we would assess liquidated damages to AMR if a citizen did have a contract with the ambulance provider, but they had to ask for mutual aid from AMSA or Pafford or another ambulance service. And so this is something we can assess damages for AMR, which we shouldn't have as many of these with the compliance going up to 92%. The estimated cost of this is $1.2,038,930 annually. Recommendations from staff. My staff and myself, we recommend option 3. But we're seeking, we're very happy with AMR service, but option 3 would be a good recommendation to move forward with if the council would want us to move forward with the contract. We are seeking staff recommendations for council, provide direction on whether to increase the service levels for amendment to the agreement. If council does wish us to explore an option further, staff will work on the AMR, with AMR and we'll come back with the recommendation to council. So if council would like for us to move forward with working with AMR to amend this agreement, we will explore these options and bring it back to another council meeting. I do have my staff here. I have AMR here if you have any questions for me.
Thank you. So council, all we're doing two things. One is, the main thing is that our vote tonight is for the renewal of the contract. But then also staff is looking for guidance on, do we want them to proceed on looking at one of these options for enhanced service to the City of Edmond? So is there any questions, comments that you have for the chief today?
I have a few comments. Super thrilled with the service that our community has been receiving with AMR. Super, super happy about it. I've not heard a single complaint on my end from anybody. 90% compliance is amazing, and the fact that we're hanging out there is wonderful. These options, as I looked over all of them, to move it from 90 to 92%, to move from a minimum of 2 to 3, and if we need even more during the peak hours, to maintain that 92%, then that's what we will have. And in my opinion, that just increases services to our community, which is, in life or death situations, you just can't go wrong with better and more efficiency. Having a dedicated supervisor ride the rig is a difficult way to run a business. And however we look at this is a business. It's not efficient. And that supervisor needs to be available to answer phone calls of any sort of supervisory role. And I think that that's an amazing thing as well. Did I hit on everything? Oh, and the fact of being able to come back, with 92% compliance, I can't even, and more rigs on the road, I can't even imagine whether this will ever be an issue. But for our residents who do opt in on the program and have to have another ambulance pick them up, those folks are very shocked when they realize that that is not covered under their agreement. So I think raising all of these other things up and setting AMR up for success and not failure also sets up our community for success and not failure. And I think that's an amazing thing for our citizens. I'm thrilled about it for my family and myself. And again, emergency medical attention when your family needs it most is important. And setting our city up for success, setting our ambulance servants up for success, setting our fire department up for success, you just can't lose. I think that's an amazing option, and I think I touched on everything.
Very good. Yeah, very much.
So touching on the financial piece of this, option 3 is a significant increase in expense for the city. So it's a couple things to highlight from conversations that we've had with both Chief Weaver and former Chief Goodwin, who is working with AMR on this. But our memberships currently are resulting in more funds than what we need to pay the $680,790. So we're accumulating about $300,000 a year, and so we have a healthy reserve already. So our current reserve, not increasing memberships at all, will cover this additional expense without encroaching in other parts of the budget for 7 years or more. If we have more memberships, that will take even longer to exhaust that reserve. So I think folks are paying the $3 fee, and we have funds there for this specific vital, truly life or death service. So from a financial standpoint, I think option 3 also makes sense and is fiscally responsible. I had another thought. Maybe it'll circle back in a minute. But But yeah, I would support, number one, let's move forward, renew our contract. We get no break in service. And in the meantime, I would like for the chief to explore option 3 and seeing if we can come with a new contract with that amendment in it and provide even better service.
Thank you.
They've said it all, and I support option 3.
Oh, I guess I thought of the other thing. It was also highlighted. We are in a tight budget year, so I think highlighting the finances of this is important too. But our relationship with AMR is also resulting in savings in some of the equipment that we have to buy too. So just because they have a national presence and they have connections in getting certain types of equipment, we're saving money and significant amounts of money in that relationship as well. So.
Thank you, council.
Very good. Well, I too support renewing the contract, and I too support going to option, for you all to pursue option 3. So, council, what would you like to do on this? Well, there's 2 items. Item 9B1 is actually renewal of the contract. So we need to take them separately.
Motion to approve 9B1, is that what you said?
Yes. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your vote. That item is passed, so go ahead and execute and renew the contract. And then 9B2 is not a, do we vote on that, or is it just give our head nod that we would like for them to pursue option 3?
I mean, if you want to vote on directing them not to pursue option 3.
Would you like to vote on it? We can, or we don't have to.
Sure. I mean, it sounds like 3 of us have commented that we would like to encourage discussion. So I don't know if Councilman Moore or Councilwoman.
These heads down here are knocking.
Oh, okay.
They're nodding. too?
Okay.
Okay.
Bobblehead, yes, option 3.
Okay.
Go forth and conquer on option 3.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Appreciate.
Thank you.
AMR, thank you for the service. Thank you for coming to our community and making us healthier.